So yes, you may be aware, tomorrow, Heritage Day, 24th of September, just a day away. And it's really important for us to understand where it is that we come from as a country so we can understand why the things are the way they are. Joined in the studio by award-winning poet Lebo Mashile, who speaks to us about her production, Venus versus Modernity. And she's going to tell us the story of South African icon, Saartjie Baartman. Good morning.
Good morning,
well,
good morning.
Thank you very much. Okay, so before we get into the play,
Yes.
we need to speak about the current state of things in South Africa.
Ooh, the normalization.
I know, and it's not really.
Yeah.
I'm positive. I've got a very good outlook on South Africa. I love things, but currently we're going through a bad phase.
I think it's taken a long time to get to this point. The issues that are coming to a head right now, the fact that people are in an uproar about femicide and gender-based violence, and these are centuries-old issues.
Yes.
These are issues that we could have been in an uproar about 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 13 years ago during Jacob Zuma's rape trial. But it's taken us to get to this point, you know, for us to kind of realize how much we are traumatized, how abnormal this situation is, or how toxic actually our normal is. So, I mean, I feel like you. I feel like it's crucial for us to get to this point of outrage, of hurt, of acknowledging the fact that we've been living in such a destructive, you know, moral environment, and that it needs to be addressed and healed and spoken about, you know. And it's exciting to see women kind of unbundling and speaking the truth. It's exciting to see women supporting other women, you know, women coming out and saying, I've been sexually assaulted, I've been abused, here's my abuser, and women saying, I believe you, it happened to me too, you know. And also women demanding that the public institutions respond to this, you know, women demanding a bigger solution for, you know, more than just like, oh yeah, you know, here's another campaign, or, you know, here's a TV show, here's another march, you know. We actually need institutional transformation in order to really address gender-based violence. So I'm excited. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time.
I can believe it. And I love the issue, for example, you spoke about institutions and the system, right? Because that is essentially what everybody should be fighting against, or just to get change.
Yeah.
But on an individual basis, is it fair to expect people to be enlightened at the same level at the same kind of time, right? So what I mean by that is somebody like you, who, as long as I've known you, right, and as long as I've been to Joburg, you've always been speaking about certain subject matter, right? Unwavering about women's rights, equality, etc., and so on. Whereas, you know, there may be a young woman out there who's also, I don't know, in the public space, and her concern isn't that right now. It may be. She may grow to be an activist one day, but is it fair to then expect that person to be dealing with that issue at that time in her life?
What's interesting to me about the events of the last couple of weeks, particularly on social media, is who is driving the conversation, right? So the activists are doing activist work. The activists are organizing total shutdown. The activists are working on the national strategic plan. The activists are doing what activists have always done, right? The people who are driving public conversation, it's exactly those women. It's the women who you know, it's public figures. It's women who are on TV. It's stylists. It's influencers. It's women who were not outwardly political before, but who are taking this on as a personal issue and are passionate about it and are doing quite radical work, are exposing their abusers publicly. That is a radical act, you know? So I'm excited. I mean, I don't think we all necessarily need to be activists, but I think we all need to understand how social justice impacts on our lives, you know? And we all need to understand that, like, misogyny it doesn't pick and choose. Like, we're all in it. No matter what your hair looks like, no matter how much money you make, no matter how fancy your accent is, you are in it. You will be oppressed by it, you know? And I think that's the point of reckoning that we're coming to, which I think is very exciting.
And so let's speak now about the play, because also very interesting, and I'm sure you picked this for a reason of your own, but for me, like, the Saartjie Baartman story is kind of like, it's an intersection of race,
Yes.
Misogyny,
Yes.
sexuality,
Yes.
people taking somebody's body and,
Yes.
you know...
Trafficking.
Exactly, it's everything.
Exhibitionism.
Yes.
Even, I mean, fashion, fame. I've been developing this piece for 5 years. I first started workshopping it with Pamela Nomvete after I'd worked on the stage production of her autobiography, Nya Dancer. Pam is an incredible director, theater maker, artist, you know, she's a national icon. We started workshopping a piece, and the story that came to me was Saartjie. Saartjie, though, has been a reference point for me for 20 years and probably became a very important reference point for me about 10 years ago when I started to receive really hardcore public backlash to my own body. So, I mean, people were, as you say, right, the values that I've been consistently exploring in my work, in my public life, right? Instead of people actually interrogating the values, they started attacking me for being fat, you know? If I didn't have Saartjie as a reference point, I would have probably personalized those attacks more than I should have. Not that they didn't hit me personally and it wasn't traumatic and it wasn't painful, it was, you know? But knowing Saartjie's story made me realize, like, oh, they've been doing this to black women for 200 years. This is not just about me. This is also what they're doing to Beyonce and to Nolene and to Brenda and to Winnie Mandela and Serena Casta, you know? Like, you know? So I started workshopping it 5 years ago, left it, had another baby, and then I met the incredible Anne Messina, who plays Venus, at the Center for the Less Good Idea 2 years ago. She's a world-class, classically trained opera singer, has performed on the best stages on the planet, has toured with William Kentridge, Robin Orlin, Soweto Gospel Choir, and this is her first time doing a full run of anything in South Africa. She works more overseas, and I mean, this happens to a lot of South African artists. I think it speaks a lot to the situation, you know, in the arts sector in general in this country, you know? So it's her first time acting. It's my first time penning and producing a full-length theatrical production. And we're exploring this incredible woman's life using music, poetry, movement, spoken word, dialogue, monologues, all kinds of stuff.
Let me ask you to please hold this thought, because we were going to speak to you for just 5 minutes, but when we come back, I'd like to speak to you again, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Yeah. We're going to come back, obviously, with the headlines at 8:30 with Natasha Thorpe, and then we'll continue the discussion with Lebo Mashile. Ask us any questions you may have. For example, tweet us at 45 Mornings. Don't forget the hashtag Breaking Dawn on 405. We'll be right back after this.